Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Bama Standard, your number one source for Alabama football and Alabama legends. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe on the right channels. I am your host, Over the Hill Powerlifter, Justin Riley. With me, as always, is Stephen M. Smith, your head senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and the man that really keeps Paul Feinbaum employed. And if you notice, Malibu Marvin Constant is on vacation this week, so he's not joining us. And his spot is the illustrious producer of the CTS Interview Room, Mr. Joseph Lozada.
Hey, Steven, I want to thank you for having me, man. This has been a great honor.
All right,
man,
that's
I
enough.
love it.
All right, he got his 5 minutes of fame, so I'm just kidding. Glad to have you here, Joseph.
You're gonna get a very stern email from Nick Saban this month. I mean, damn.
Okay. Oh, well, glad
Nick
to have
Saban is
y'all.
very angry at you right now.
I'm sure that he's concerned about what's going on with the Bama Standard right now. So I'll be getting a message from his staff soon, no doubt. But glad to have you on here, fellas.
Happy to be in here, man. Happy to be in here. Looks like we lost Rudy there for a minute, but he'll be back on.
Well, what it is, he was acting up, so I went ahead and kicked him off too. He's back. But in the midst of our chaos, guys, we have a tremendous guest tonight, somebody that I'm really excited to bring on our show. He's on the Bama Standard for the first time, but he's no stranger to being around me and Marvin Constant and what we did previously. We won't name the name of that station because we're in the promised land right now. But anyway, he's a great friend of mine. He is a former Alabama legend. He has one of the best stories in Alabama football history. He is a SEC Player of the Week performer. He is an SEC academic, all academic SEC, and a man that just makes a difference everywhere he goes. And that is Mr. Rudy Griffin.
Coach
man, man, I appreciate that, man. Hey, I need to let that.
Rudy.
Oh,
I mean,
let me add one thing I got to add. Notre Dame has their Rudy, but it needs to be known right now. We have the real Rudy. So there.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that.
They're still angry. They're still sending us emails. Angry. They gave up the greatest defensive lineman of all time.
I'm just saying, but not only tremendous play. We got to talk about Rudy Griffin, the coach. I mean, he worked out with Paul Tyson. He gave us Malachi Moore. Coach Griffin gave us some boys, man. Gave us some boys, some men over here.
Man, it was a blessing to coach those guys, man. And
Pierce Quick.
Oh yeah, Pierce Quick. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, man. I got a plethora of them, and not just at Alabama. You know, I got coach guys that's playing all over the country, and so, man, it's just a blessing. It's been a blessing to kind of pour into the younger generations.
Well, brother, that you did those things as an assistant coach, but now you are a head coach right now. I want to hear about your recent season, how that went. Tell me about how you're changing the lives of those young men there, and how you're already making a difference with not only that team but that school.
Yeah, well, you know, with the season, this past season that we had, and it was rough, man. Just being honest, you know, with everything, honestly, with COVID and it wasn't nothing nobody else, you know, didn't experience, and but the guys pushed through, and I tell you what, man, it was just a blessing just to have the season. And you know, we had a chance to get out there, man, and you know, especially in that community, man, you know, they needed an outlet, and for them to get a chance to get out there and run around and, you know, be with their friends, because our school was shut down pretty much. I mean, it was pretty much almost the whole year. I mean, you know, it was start and stop. But for them to get out there and play and just have a sense of normalcy, man, was huge for those guys, and it was great, and and so I enjoyed it there, and so that was a good little run, and there that I was coaching where I was coaching at last year.
One of the things that you talked about before, when you were just starting there, was you want to create a culture where these young men believe that they could succeed, not only on the high school level, but believe that they could actually go beyond that. And one of the things that really stood out this past season was there were quite a bit of your players. They were getting scholarships and being awarded the opportunity to continue on at a higher level. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we did. We was blessed to have 3 guys sign scholarships, which is, my mission on anything is of course, I want to win championships, and and I think that's just a given. If you coach in this game, I mean, you want to win, and but I think the ultimate victory for me, man, is to help those guys succeed, beyond that, and go play college football, and we did. We had a chance to have 3 guys sign. We had one sign with Boston College, and another one signed with University of Tennessee Martin, and then another one signed with Faulkner. So, and I was glad of Quintavious, who signed with Boston, and Terrius Harris, who signed with UT Martin, and Roy Williams, who signed with Faulkner, man. And so I was real proud of those guys, man, and the work that they did, they put through, and they really worked hard, to push and get those things going on there, man. So I was real proud of those guys, and I'll be rooting for them. I'm no longer coaching there this year, but it's next season I won't be coaching, but I'll be rooting for those guys as well, man. And hopefully they continue to do what they got to do next year. I know they will.
Absolutely. I'm excited and I'm proud of you, man, for what you've done with these young men. It's just tremendous, man. I have to give you props on that.
Man, thank you. Again, it's a passion of mine, and like I said, it's one of those things I strive to do, and I make that a mission of mine. Is of course I'm gonna coach them hard, but I'm gonna try even harder to get them placed and play at the collegiate level.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely got you here tonight so we can honor you. But before we do that, we're going to jump into one of our favorite segments, and that is Constant's Chaos. Normally, Marvin Constant has that up, and what that is, if you're new to the show, it is Marvin's unfiltered discussion of whatever's going on with the Crimson Tide, the world, or just what happens to have him, fired up that week. This week, Mr. Stephen M. Smith has gladly volunteered for that position. So, Stephen M., what have you got for us for Constant's Chaos this week?
I mean, guys, NFL mandatory mini camps have started, and mini camp starts the overreaction in the NFL. I mean, especially this particular mini camp coming off of COVID, where you have OTAs last year. You didn't have a lot of the off-season activities a year ago, but in terms of the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, and the Atlanta Falcons, a lot of craziness going on with Miami. So Tua in Miami practiced today. There was a monsoon of rain in Miami. You couldn't see anything out there. The weather was god-awful. The field was soaking wet, drenched, a wet football. So you pretty much know when you got guys doing 7-on-7, 11-on-11 with wet ball and bodies banging everywhere, you're going to have turnovers. You're going to have mistakes, especially when you have a defense that is more so ahead of where the offense is. And yes, Tua had 5 interceptions. Tua did not have probably his best day out there on the field, but just the people on Twitter jumping out the window going, oh my gosh, sweet Jesus, we drafted the wrong quack. We should have taken Justin Herbert. Why would he go out there and get Joe Burrow?
Oh, yeah.
Why would he trade up and get Trevor Lawrence? Why we couldn't get Trey Lance? We're stuck with Tua. Lord, it's over. It's over. It's over. I'm like, God, it's the month of June. Keep your pants on. Yeah. Tua did not have this last year. He was coming off an injury where we didn't know if he was going to be able to walk again, and did not have OTAs last year, did not have time to really build and bond with that team. He was more so focused on winning his whole medical evaluation, examination the whole time. Now that he has finally gotten through OTAs, he's gotten the mini camp, and now he's got a brand new offensive coordinator because, praise God, Chan Gailey's gone. He's got more offensive talent around him. You got to give the man some time. We are living in a culture where Nobody knows what the word patience is.
No.
I remember in 2018, Josh Allen out of Wyoming had a horrible rookie year with the Bills. Had more picks than touchdowns. But folks kept saying, be patient with Josh Allen. He gonna be a big deal. He got that arm on him. He got that swag. Be patient with Josh Allen. And 3 years later, though this past season, Josh Allen had an MVP year because people had patience with the brother. And when you look at Baker Mayfield and even Peyton Manning, his first year in the league in 1998, more picks than touchdowns. But people had patience. But Tua has 9 games, and people are already throwing him out to the wolves because he didn't pop. Come on, it's the month of June, people. Give the brother some time.
It's pretty crazy. You're absolutely right. And a lot of this chatter is coming from Miami Dolphins fan pages and message boards.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you said, he only had a small sample size for us to go off of. And you can't expect him to go from collegiate level to overcoming a catastrophic injury to being a Dan Marino type literally overnight. I just think it's so unrealistic. And I don't understand the thought process of these guys.
I mean, even Dan, because Dan Marino was on ESPN yesterday. Dan Marino even said, look, y'all got to be patient right now. This dude did not have any OTAs. He didn't have any summer camp. He had no time to work with the players around him. He's finally got some time here, and it's going to take a bit for him to get everything kind of set in stone. But once again, we're in the culture where Uber Eats, Postmate, all of this stuff runs everything. We're in a microwavable culture where it's, if I don't have it now, I don't want it. So this is what we're having to deal with.
I cannot believe you saw all that with those glasses.
Man, he can see next week in those glasses.
Shouts out to Marvin Constant. Shouts out. I got funny glasses jokes too. hey, can we please talk to Rudy Griffin right now? Because this is like fanboys coming out. I want to talk to Rudy.
I'm gonna put you in the penalty box again, Joey. Hold on. Rudy, what are your thoughts on this particular topic, man? We haven't heard from you yet. What do you think about it?
Especially I agree. I agree with what Steven said, man. It's just the fans, and that's just the nature of the position. The nature of the position. Folks gonna want to see your first round draft pick, top draft pick. They want to see. They're gonna nitpick now for anything, especially now. Right now with nothing really going on, honestly. I mean, and, no games is really won or lost right now in June. And so, they're just gonna nitpick on and they're gonna nitpick on everything, man. And so, hopefully, once start playing preseason games, and then you can kind of start seeing, a little bit more. I mean, but nobody can really, I don't think, can really hold the COVID year, against them, man. I mean, it put a lot of people in bad situations, coaches and players.
Mm-hmm.
Real fast, Rudy. Eric Ross. He wants to let you know. He says, "Roll Tide."
Roll Tide, Eric.
We get a lot of fan interaction on this show. It's pretty cool.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's cool.
So this is gonna be my last thought on this before we move on to the next part of the show here. Just from me, I understand people saw Justin Herbert last year have 8 300-yard games. And I understand people saw Joe Burrow go off before, a tragic knee injury. But you just can't compare everybody to everybody because the NFL, you're in different situations, different teams, different setups where the organizations are concerned. So to me, it's just not all the way fair. And then even with the COVID year last year, the offensive coordinator, Chan Gailey, and I hope he's watching this right now, Chan Gailey had 2 different play sheets, believe it or not. He had the play sheet for Ryan Fitzpatrick where it was fun and gun, do your thing, rifle that ball out there. I don't care if you throw it in the quadruple coverage, just throw that thing. And then you had play sheet number B for Tua where it was as vanilla, as conservative as possible, almost as if he was trying to baby Tua. So then there's that.
And we all know that Tua is not someone who needs to be baby. He's a guy, throw him into the mix right away and just let him do his thing. So that's definitely a situation worth looking at. But now,
and I think we'll have a chance to know a lot more this year, and and that's why fans just got to pump the brakes, and we'll know a lot more this year. And we all know Tua is a great player, so I mean it's not like it's gonna be something where it's gonna be no surprise. He just give him his time and let's see what he does this season.
Absolutely. And of course, this is the period of time where the media just thrives off of that because it gives them something to report and talk about during the dead period where nothing's really going on. They see fans going nuts. They're like, yes. And all of a sudden they got material until training camp. So absolutely. Well, guys, as mentioned earlier, we are here for a main purpose, and that's to honor Mr. Rudy Griffin. And for the rest of the show, that's what we're here to do. And Joey, now the fanboy can come out. You can have your moment with your cool shades, trying to hide your happy tears and whatever else is going on. Where's your WWE belt, man? You're usually carrying that as your comfort animal. Oh, he did bring it.
The heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph.
Signed by the immortal Hulk Hogan. But that's only when we're talking wrestling. Today we're talking Rudy Griffin, the greatest defensive tackle ever play at the University of Alabama. The Citadel emailed me today, still angry they gave you up.
I'll take it. Listen, I had some great times at the Citadel though, man. And I tell you what, man, I played with some dang good football players at the Citadel, man. That I think honestly, if they would, if they'd have took the same route as me, man, we'd be talking about some of their stories, man.
Absolutely.
I totally disagree. I totally disagree with that statement. No good athletes ever came out of the Citadel. Only good athletes ever come out is at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Carry on, Justin.
Okay, are you done with your rant that you interrupted me? The host, the guy who showed you grace.
Yes,
showed you grace by letting you on.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of this. Speaking of the Citadel, Rudy, you were doing pretty well up there. They gave you an offer. Coach Ellis Johnson brought you on. Even though things were going right, you still had, that Bama bug biting at you, man. At what point did you decide that God was telling you it's time to move, it's time to pursue a different path?
Well, it was all along, honestly, and and of course, I'm a big believer of. My dad and my mom kind of taught me just kind of progress where you at and dominate where you at. And but it came a point in my time after my sophomore year playing, and I started there as a freshman and a sophomore. I got a chance to I really prayed about it, man, and God really spoke to me strongly, honestly, and it was like, hey man, if you're gonna go, you need to go. And man, so it was really after my sophomore season.
I got you. I hate to press pause. Stephen M. Smith, what are your thoughts? Eric Ross is asking, what are your thoughts on Bryce Young and Paul Tyson? Which quarterback is going to shine? And is the Alabama defense going to be as nasty as we think they are?
I knew this question was going to come up. I cannot seem to escape this question. I mean, both quarterbacks are really good quarterbacks. I mean, Bryce has a lot of talent, a lot of potential. And I feel like Coach Saban's trying to see what do we have in this five-star athlete. But at the same time, you are going to need Paul Tyson. And Rudy Griffin coached Paul at Hewitt-Trussville. Paul, big arm, big ability, great mindset, a guy that could just rip it. I know people go back to the spring game, and they're like, well, what did Paul really do in the spring game? You have to take that into context. Because Paul had a patchwork offensive line. He didn't have a lot of the number one wide receivers to throw to, and yet he still ripped that ball and got a lot of guys open downfield, made a lot of big plays. As a matter of fact, Paul had some penalties in that spring game that actually hurt him. If a team had some penalties that hurt Paul out on the field. So I think both quarterbacks are immensely talented. You are going to need both. Fall camp will tell the tape here. You're going to have an actual real fall camp this time around. So fall camp will tell a lot of that tape. Coach Saban has spoken a lot about Bryce Young for good reasons, but Paul Tyson has been working his tail off for good reasons. Fall camp will tell out the story. But to end off on the defense, I think the defense is going to lose their mind. They're going to go crazy this year because the defense the last 3 years has felt kind of disrespected. And I look at Christian Harris, Will Anderson, Brian Ray, DJ Dale, Phil Mathis, Tim Smith, Malachi Moore, Jordan Battle. Those guys are ready to headhunt and go off. So my one question becomes, Pete Golding, all you have to do is make the right call. The dogs are there. Just make the right call, Pete. That's it.
Hold on. Before we go back to Rudy, the greatest defensive tackle ever to play at the University of Alabama, I just want to know, what is your obsession with the defensive coordinator? I mean, University of Alabama. No, I don't want a long rant because we got to get to Rudy.
Okay.
But just
it's
Marvin.
It's Marvin.
We win a national championship. You're still angry. I mean, what is going on?
Okay.
Marvin comes on here. He gives us like this big rant. His nipples get hurt from the baby oil, and now all of a sudden that y'all just tell me, explain it to me.
It's mostly Mark. Me, I actually like Pete Golding, to be honest. From the moment he first came in here, I actually like the guy. It's just the thing was with him is having the confidence in his play calling, right? Because sometimes when he calls a play, you kind of look at him and he's like, I don't know if I'm even calling the right play. So that's the thing with Pete is when you call a play, know that this thing is going to work.
So y'all see you see his facial expressions, and that's what makes y'all angry?
The biggest thing is, and I think Rudy can testify to this, as Alabama fans and even a former player, especially yourself, Rudy, who played on a defense that was ranked number one in the nation, the Bama defense is held to a certain standard, and we haven't been playing up to that standard with the past several seasons. We've been giving up a way too much for comfort. So that's really got Marvin and me and the casual Alabama fan, it's a little out of sorts. What do you think, Rudy?
But I agree, and I think to the Pete Golding's of I guess defense coming to his defense is I guess that he's playing with a lot of young guys too, man, and some of them jokers had to grow up, man, and it's hard, man, and to come in and play right away on Saban's defense, because Saban, one thing about Saban is his defense is complex, and he's not gonna make it he's not gonna dumb it down for anybody. And so it's either you're going to jump, either you're going to have to learn it now, or, you're not going to play, or you're just going to learn under fire. So, and they did that. And those guys had to learn, and, and it was, I remember, so those guys did that, and they grew up. But I think I'm with Steven, man. All he's got to do is really just call the plays, man, because he's got some animals out there this year now, some go daddies. So, he ain't got no excuse.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So Rudy, I gotta ask you this question right here from me, because when I talk to a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but Mike Shula gets the worst rep of any Alabama coach to come through the program. And I understand, what Saban's done, and it's fantastic, but you needed Shula at that time because you didn't have the scholarships you wanted. You couldn't recruit the kids you wanted. So he basically entered a program with both hands tied behind his back, metaphorically speaking here. And and as good as he did, or he tried to do, he still gets hammered by, Mike Shula was the locust years. He was awful. He was terrible. Can you kind of speak to why people need to kind of pull off the whole thing of Shula was bad?
Well said, Steve.
Well, yeah, you just got to look at the situation he came into, man. It was, a situation where we had been through a bunch of coaches and two previous coaches. You had Fran that left in the middle of the night.
Don't ever remind me of that again. Still crying.
Yeah. Fran left in the middle of the night, and then you had Coach Price, who I thought Price was going to be successful, but everybody knows what happened. He went down to Florida, and so everybody know that story. And so, man, we was in a situation, man, where Man, it was hard times, man. And so, generally what happens normally when universities get in situations like that, they try to find someone, they try to find somebody that's been there, that's played there, or somebody that's home. And so they did. They reached out, they found Shula, and he held it together, man, because he had a lot of guys that was had to get up out of there, and so he held the fort, man, and with scholarship reductions and all that stuff, not being able to get the guys he wanted to, man, and to be able to put a productive year that he did in 2005 to go 10-2 and win the Cotton Bowl, man, speaks volume. And now, of course, and everybody knows he's not no Saban, but I think folks need to give him the credit because he got it, he got the buzz rolling again. Like I said, and Bama never really was off. And I know our standard is different than a lot of other universities, but Bama never really fell off. But he brought the buzz again, and man, he needs a lot of credit, and a lot of folks don't want to give him that, but he does. He deserves a lot of it.
I was gonna say, well said, Steve, because I think Mike Shula, he really helped the program, and he was honestly one of my favorite coaches at the University of Alabama. And what he did for the University of Alabama at a bad time, he stepped in, and people want to, I don't want to use this word, but give him shit. And be honest with you saw what he does in the NFL, and he's so successful in the NFL. I think one day it'll be nice to see him back at the collegiate level. But I have a question for you. Can you explain to me what your relationship is with Mike Shula today?
My relationship, man, it's I speak to him, and me and him reach out every now and then and kind of touch, check in with each other. It's been a good relationship. I actually got a chance to go when he was coaching with the Carolina Panthers. Actually, I saw one of your former guests, Lance Taylor, when Lance Taylor and Coach Shula was with the Carolina Panthers. I got a chance. They invited me up, and I went and watched the practice. It was a mini camp, or it was one of the practices in the summer practices, 2 of days, man. And so I got a chance to see him in person. But he's been good to me, and like I say, he was one of the individuals that heavily blessed me and allowed me to fulfill a childhood dream.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to your story. When you got to Alabama, all you really had was prayer and an armful of your tapes, and you staged a sit-in at the athletic complex, man. Tell us about that moment, and then when you finally just kind of broke through and got your opportunity.
Well, yeah, just like I said, I was a 2-year starter at the Citadel, and on defensive line, and was there for 2 years, and then ended up, asking for my letter of release from Coach Ellis Johnson. And like I said, Coach Johnson, I mean, you got a 2-year starter walks into your office and wants to transfer. He said no. he didn't give it to me. He said, "Nah, Rudy, not transferring." And so, man, me and him kind of went back and forth on that, and he eventually gave me my letter of release. And so me and my dad and my sister, we left my hometown of Hepzibah, Georgia. We hopped in my car from Hepzibah, and we drove all the way to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is a long ride. I mean, it's a long, long ride. And so we got there. We showed up to the football facilities, and of course, nobody was even expecting us. And, you got a walk-on guy in there with my VHS tapes. And, I met the secretary, and the secretary said, "You got a meeting with anybody?" I said, "Yeah, I was trying to see if I can talk about playing football here." And they was like, "Well, giving me the whole walk-on spiel, they're in meetings and all this other stuff." I said, "Well, I drove 5.5, 6 hours from, Hepzibah, Georgia." I said, "I don't mind waiting." And they said, "Well, it's going to be a long time, sir." Man, I mean, and we did. We waited. We waited a really long time. I mean, I think we got there like 7 in the morning, and I think somebody didn't walk out until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And that guy that walked out was the director of football operations, a guy by the name of Randy Ross. He walked out, and he said, "Hey, I heard you want to play football. Just give me your tapes." And I stopped him there. I said, "Hey, coach, you mind if you can you watch them? Can you mind watching them and just kind of giving me, what you think, if I can play here or not?" He said, "Well, Rudy, we're in the meetings, and same type of deal is going to be a long time." And so I waited again, man. He walked back in. It was another hour, a few more hours, and I think he walked back out. Him and another coach walked back out about 6 o'clock, and they told me they liked what they saw, but when I left there my first time there, I left really with nothing, honestly, but in my mind I felt like I did something because I coach saw my tape. So it's not like I went down there in Alabama when I first showed up and just walked out of there and I left with like a camp invite. I didn't. So they just said, we'll let you know. And so I got back in my car and drove back to Georgia with just a promise of maybe somebody will call. And it happened to be a week before two-a-days. Paul Randolph, who was D-line coach, called me and said one of the scholarship guys didn't qualify. Would you mind coming and being a walk-on in a 105, that's how many players you have to have. During that time was 105 players for camp. And I said, Coach, I'll be there tomorrow, man. I hopped in there and hopped in my car and drove and that whole year I did the whole scout team stuff, did all the dirty work, being the walk-on. And during those times, see now, you look at those facilities now is unbelievable. But when I was there, it wasn't like that. We had two totally different locker rooms. We had the scholarship locker room. You had the walk-on locker room, and the walk-on locker room was about what it looked like, the walk-on locker room. And the scholarship locker room was the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's where I met you. Your first year there. And guys, when I say he was one of the hardest working, if not the hardest working guys on that team, this man was. He set the standard, and I saw something special in him. There was a drive and passion in him that just wasn't there when it was as predominant, just because I guess it was the sign of the times and what we were going through. But his passion was absolutely amazing. Now, Rudy, you kept on working hard, but you came to a crossroads where you weren't sure if you're going to be able to, afford going there. So you left after that semester, not really knowing what was going to happen. But during Christmas break, and I love this part of your story, when you really weren't expecting anything, you're just spending time in prayer, just trying to discern where God was going to lead you. You got a very special phone call from somebody right around Christmas, and they ended up giving you a pretty awesome gift. Would you talk about that?
Yeah, it was, and I'm gonna go back before I talk about that. And you talk about just having a passion, man. I was appreciative, man, because I got to look, where I came from, and it's no knock on the Citadel. Citadel was great, but you talking for those individuals that don't know anything about the Citadel is a military college, so I was doing the military stuff, so a lot of my, I was just happy just to be free, honestly. So, so I was blessed. Just
say less, bro. Say less.
So I was enjoying just the freedom. But anyway, yeah, I got that phone call, man. It was December 23rd. I still remember 2003, roughly around there, man. And I got a call from a number I didn't know, and I picked it up, and it was Coach Shula. And because I had told him I wasn't gonna be able to afford it and come back, and he was real brief with me. He just told me, say, hey, Rudy, I'm not gonna be long, but I'm just want to tell you that we normally don't do this, but we're gonna put you on scholarship for this semester. Now you can't say anything because we don't do that. Normally a guy walk-on doesn't come in for one semester and earns the full ride. But you did, and they blessed me, and man, and the rest is history. Went on to be a 2-year starter there, and on the nation's #1 defense, just like you said. Justin, I appreciate it, man, and it was a blessing.
Absolutely.
I gotta ask, Rudy, I gotta ask. So that 2005 defense, how fun was it? It was you. It was guys like Juwan Simpson, guys like Simeon Castilla, D'Amico Ryans, Freddie Roach, Charlie Pepper, I think, was there at that time. Like, how much fun was it for you to be out there? All of those guys, you coming from walk-on to you getting the scholarship, but 05, you and those men out. How fun was that?
Man, I tell you this, and if you talk anybody you talk to on that defense, and we had a lot of great ones, man. Anthony Madison, Ramsey Robinson, Charlie Pepper.
Bino!
Yeah, forgot about Bino. Don't forget about Bino.
No.
Prime
You can't
time.
forget Bino.
That's right.
You can't forget Bino.
But all those guys. But think about all of us, man. A lot of us had a chip on the shoulder, man. With the exception of probably Freddie. A lot of us wasn't highly recruited like that. And so we kind of all play with the chip, like, man, dude, everybody slept on us, man. Let's go prove something. And man, we knew we was gonna be special, honestly, man, in the off season, man, because we have became so close that we was out there like you would literally see, the secondary out there working, linebackers working, D-line working. I mean, and it was, and I know everybody does that, but it was a situation where, man, the coaches didn't even need to come out. Like, we had it. Like, we literally had it. Like, nobody had to tell us to do anything. And we took real pride of it, man. And I tell you what, man, and the thing about it too is, and I credit our coaches, honestly, man, because they, you talking about getting up, and Coach Cons in particular, man, because you talking about having somebody motivated to go out to a practice, man. Coach Cons the speeches he would give before the second 2 a day of practice, man, and you'd be like, man, I don't feel like going out there. He'd get up there and give some of the greatest speeches, and I mean, you feel like you can just conquer the world, man, and man, that's one thing. The one thing I say about that, man, is that he had us ready to go now.
Man, I love his energy.
Hey,
that dude's special.
But his favorite one. You gotta stop that barefoot trap. Did y'all stop that trap though? Did y'all stop that kind of trap?
Hey, listen, he gave plenty speeches like that, man. And the stuff that he said, it was funny because he wasn't trying to be funny, but he would motivate us, man. And he, like I said, all those guys, man. And the thing about it, man, we was real simple on defense, honestly. We didn't do a whole lot, man. We would get mad at Coach Cons if he would like call like a blitz. He'd be like, "Nah, coach, don't just call base. Let's line up and play base. Let's play base, man. You don't believe in this? Don't blitz." And so, man, and we got good. We took pride in that, man, and doing our job. And that's the thing that they would always preach: do your job. Do your job. Just do your job. Don't worry about if you don't make a tackle. And you did your job, we won. And so if you get all 11 guys doing that, man, and we bought into it, like we was like hook, line, and sunk on that, just doing our job.
I got a question. Talking to Marvin Constant for the last year or so, we always talk about the Bear Bryant towel. What was the rule with the players? Could y'all ever touch it? Like Marvin used to say that they couldn't even look at it. Or they'd be in so much trouble.
Nah, man, I was so scared to even walk beside it. Like I would walk. I literally would walk the whole field over because they knew if you touched that Bear Bryant tower, I don't care who you was gone. Like your scholarship was took and you was back home. So no, I didn't even touch it.
Like that? Is it still like that today? You think Nick Saban was like no, you can't touch it.
I know nobody goes up there. And so, that's not. You know what? That's not. Hold on, that's not true. I heard stories, but I can't name names because they're still scared of the life. They think Alabama's gonna put a hit on them. But I know a couple players that have, climbed that tower, and they still to this day don't want to be named. Oh yeah, they way braver than me, man. No sir. I still go down. I still go down there now, and I don't even look at it. So I cover my eyes, turn my head.
Hey, that's real, man. That's real. That is real, man. That's real. But honestly though, Rudy, you talked about just how close that entire 05 team was, and how the coaches didn't even have to say anything. Like y'all knew how to get each other in check. When you look at this generation athlete, you don't see much of that because back then players were self-motivated. Now it just feels like the coaches have to jump through hoops just to get the players to like be on one key. How much have we transitioned to that, to where you have to almost be thankful when you do have the players nowadays that buy into what's being taught?
Yeah, and I think it's not like and I tell you what, man, the players nowadays, man, them jokers are blessed. And man, I wish I could play in the era that they had now. They got so much technology, nutrition, like educational nutrition side of it. Man, I'm talking about blessed. And because I'm like, we didn't have none of that. Honestly, when we didn't have the science behind like lifting weights, like we didn't, and Jessica tell you that, like, man, we knew it, but it's the science that they have now, the education they got now, man. These kids are, man, I think, man, these are, far as athletic ability and all these kids, they are blessed, man, beyond belief.
Y'all, you see, y'all on that Scott Cochran, you gotta live for the pain. You gotta live for it.
We would go in there and just kill ourselves every day. So now it's scientifically bar speed and all that other stuff now. Man, you see it now, man. It's like you go in there, it's like a whole different world in there now in the weight room. It looks, all the machines and electronics and and of course it's smarter, man, and it's smart.
Well, that's Jeff Allen. Well, that's Jeff Allen, and then along with Jeff Allen, you got Pinky and the Brain, Baloo and Ray in here, but the majority of that is Jeff Allen.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I thought that Ben Pollard was ahead of his time, and for that time he was doing things other coaches weren't. But compared to what we see these days, man, it's just a completely different end of the spectrum.
Oh yeah, for that, and even also the nutrition side of it. Like, I mean, now these guys got like full-time nutritionists, chefs. I mean, when I was there, we ate at Burke Hall and Brown. I mean, that was the food was good. It was good. The food was good, but as far as the nutritional value, I mean, it's not the same.
On one it was good. On one it was good. Tell you.
I saw y'all's plates, man. A piled high with burgers and wings.
Bro, I ate at Burke Hall every day.
So did I. Hey, I actually had
I mean, eating burgers and fries and pizza. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna put the weight on. But now these guys understand like eating a well-balanced diet, and I'm not saying they got to eat like all greens and salads and stuff like that. But they understand
the portion control,
portion control, and the value of all that. Just. Man, I think nowadays, man, these kids now, man, it's unbelievable, man, the stuff that they have at their disposal now.
I got a question that I'm such.
Rudy, I think it's time. I think it's time to show for us to talk about one special play during your career. It earned you SEC Player of the Week honor, and that was the game against Mississippi State. One of the most electrifying moments I've ever seen. And I was definitely happy for you because I knew you, we were friends and whatnot. But to see that moment is just truly amazing. Can you talk about that moment? I don't want to spoil it, but not only that moment, but also who was on the other side or the other team coaching that saw that moment?
Yeah, it was, against Mississippi State. And, we was on our road there, man. We was number 3 team in the country. And, we was trying to fight for, chance to go play the national championship. That was the year that Vince Young, beat USC in the national championship game. And so we was number 3. We was sitting behind Texas. USC was number 1. Texas was number 2, and we was number 3. And we was playing Mississippi State. And I think that was our 8th or 9th game. And we was 8-0. And, man, it was a back and forth game, man. And, it was kind of a situation where, we was – we was handling it. We was beating Mississippi State, but it was a close game. And so anyway, it was a 3rd down call, and I did my reads like I was supposed to. Was taught as a defensive lineman. If the offensive lineman pass blocks and he tries to throw you up the field and then release, get in his hip pocket and follow him because it's a screen play. And I did that. I got it. Read the screen, picked the ball off, and scored. For a touchdown, which helped us win the ball game there, man. And the good thing about it is the funny thing about it is that after the game, I was doing the media stuff, the press conference with everything, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, Rudy, you got a visitor." I like, visitor? I don't know nobody in Starkville. And so I walked out there, man. It's my old head football coach, Coach Ellis Johnson, who was my head coach at the Citadel. He was a defensive coordinator now at Mississippi State, man. He came and gave me the biggest hug and just congratulated me. And told me that he was proud of me, man. And of course, me and him have still stayed in contact since then. But it was kind of full circle, man. That my old head coach, he didn't want me to leave. Now I left, and I scored on him to beat him. And man, it was a full circle, man.
that was such an amazing play. That's one of the amazing plays that I remember you by. And I was talking to Justin this morning about that play, and just the memories of you playing. It still sticks with a lot of Alabama fans. But one more question from me, because this is probably going to be the last time I get to ever talk to you, and I'm such a big fan. I know after we get off the show, I'm going to think of 20,000 other questions that I wanted to ask, and I'm never going to get the chance to. But one question.
You can always call me, brother. You can always call me.
He can come
Oh,
on.
don't tell me. Ask Justin and Steven. I call you at 2:00 in the morning.
Well, he can come on the special your show. He has a show called the special a Sunday interview, like he said, and
Well,
be great.
we don't want to pitch a Sunday interview. This is the Bama standard. You got to be the highest standard to be on this show. And my question is this: Mike Shula's father, legendary NFL Hall of Famer coach Don Shula. How much of an influence was he to the players? Did he come in the locker room? Did he get to talk to y'all? Did y'all ask him questions? How much was Don Shula available to the Alabama players at that time?
I mean, he came around a bunch. He came around so much. I knew he was like a legend, but he came around so much. It was like just normal. It was like, hey, there's Coach Shula's dad, Don Shula. I mean, he was like just a normal. And and the thing about him, man, he was real personable. He would talk to us a bunch, but he really stayed out of the way. But like I say, he was around all the time, and all the time. It seemed like he was at every practice, seemed like, and all the games, and he was sitting in meetings, and he would just kind of be like a sponge, and so no, he was available all the time.
Did you ever have any conversations with him?
I did. It was nothing major and real minor stuff, but he mostly talked collectively to the team as a whole, and would give us some speech. I remember the first time I heard him talk. It was Coach Shula's, I think, first year, he was getting ready to play Tennessee, and he gave us the talk before Tennessee, and of course we didn't win that game, but he gave us the talk before that Tennessee game.
Well, before I sign off, Justin's office is going to sign us off for Stephen Smith. I want to say thank you to Justin and thank you to Stephen allowing me to come on y'all show and meet the real Rudy. I'm a big fan. I honestly thank you for coming on, and it means a lot to get the chance to talk to you. And with Justin and Stephen, thank you.
Hey, no problem. But before you go, we're going to talk about the real Rudy. You talked about people coming up and talking to him. Rudy, I want you to tell a story about how you actually got to meet Daniel Rudy Rudiger. Dramatic pause. Rudy. Oh, he's gonna make us wait, man.
I think we lost him.
Did we lose you, brother? Oh, well,
yeah, lost him.
That's a resounding yes. When he comes back, he's right back.
This never happens on The View.
Well, The View doesn't have the standard we have. Now, Rudy, before you had a little technical difficulty there, we were talking about how you got to talk to Coach Don Shula, and then we talked about Rudy Rudiger. Well, you actually got a chance to meet Rudy Rudiger. Can you tell us about that meeting?
You're muted, brother. You're muted.
He's making us earn it.
Can't hear you, man.
It's that cricket wireless.
After that beautiful speech I just gave, this happens.
That's what caused it, man. Your negative juju. I mean, this is the first and last time we let an outsider on the
show. Man,
it was, and that speech came from the heart too.
Hey, Joseph, I saw it bleed through your glasses, man. It bled through your glasses, man.
It did, man.
Well, Rudy, I apologize for the jinx. Like I said, this never happens on The View. And I'm probably going to get a very stern email from Nick Saban and Mike Shula.
And the Citadel.
And the Citadel.
But we can actually transition into
there he is.
Okay,
one more try, guys. This is third strike.
Here we go.
Yo, Rudy. Oh, he sent us a screenshot.
I can read lips.
He sent us a screenshot.
Is it working?
Actually, yeah, it's working. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, my bad. I said I'm traveling, so man, it's this old phone, man. I tell you what, man, If anybody has T-Mobile, man, get rid of T-Mobile. T-Mobile is killing me.
Who you
Hey,
telling?
Hey, whoa! We need sponsors, so we can't say that.
No, man, you don't need T on mobile. That's exactly what it was for me too, Rudy. I hear you.
Hey, that's that T maybe you got.
Hold on. That's funny. That's funny right there because I remember I was in Georgia at a wedding, and so my uncle went to Chick-fil-A, and so the woman at Chick-fil-A, she thought I was a high school student because I had a tuxedo on, so she thought I was at the prom. So my uncle goes, "Nah, see, Tupac was supposed to be performing at the Civic Center, but he dead. So they had to get his cousin, Two-Pimp, and he pointed right at me. Like, I'm supposed to be Two-Pimp."
Wow. On that note,
Rudy, tell the story, Rudy.
Please tell the story before we lose our minds.
For sure. I don't even remember what the story I was talking about. What was the story again?
Before your CB radio cut out, I'd asked about your experience where you actually got to meet Daniel Rudy Rudiger. Can you talk to us about that meeting?
Yeah, well, it was my junior year, and of course, and my roommates would tell me, man, I would watch that movie, Rudy. I would watch that movie religiously, and somehow one of the media guys caught wind of it, and we was playing Arkansas back when they had they all had all those players, man. I can't remember the quarterback they had, the big quarterback, and Peyton Hillis and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we was getting ready to play Arkansas. They said, "Hey, Rudy, got a phone call," and they handed me the phone, and it was Daniel Rudiger, the Rudy that played at Notre Dame. And so I got a chance to speak to him right before we played Arkansas. And of course, we stayed in contact for a while, and of course, we lost contact since then. And of course, he was living in Las Vegas, and he was doing his motivational speaking and stuff. So we stayed in contact for a while. And hopefully I'll reach back out. Hopefully we'll get a chance to link back up again. But it was an unreal experience. To get a chance to meet the guy who kind of his story kind of inspired me to make a move.
That's awesome, brother. How many people can say they got a chance to do something like that? Truly a blessing. If you're playing name that quarterback with Rudy Griffin, that Arkansas guy was Max Johnson. It was Matt Johnson. Wow. Johnson. I know who's coming with me.
That's him. Baller.
Man, I tell you what, I know who I'm going to call for trivia night. And that's Mr. Stephen M. Smith. All right, guys.
Hey, Stephen M. Smith is a football guru.
Stop it, man. Stop it right there. Stop it right there. Well, this allows us to transition into our final segment before we close up, and that's the depth chart with Mr. Stephen M. Smith, where he gets to update us on what's going on with the Crimson Tide. And judging by the level of fog in his glasses, he seems pretty excited about something. So let's let him go ahead and talk about that.
Wow, the level of fog. Wow, this is crazy.
Well,
Right now we're in the summer. So this is the time for David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray, the two geniuses of strength and conditioning, to work out their magic. And in particular, Dr. Ray, he's known as the speed guy, the speed genius. He likes to put these wind-resistant belts on the players and have them run different distances to kind of get them faster. And this entire summer thus far, he's had the entire linebacker room that's inside and outside backers. This includes Shane Lee. He's got the entire linebacker room getting faster in the indoor practice facility. So we could potentially see the fastest set of linebackers of the Nick Saban era. Crossing your fingers here. For me, all I want Dr. Ray to do, if he can get Shane Lee to run a 4.640, pay Dr. Ray more money. If he can get Shane Lee to run a 4.640. That's all I want to see happen. But Dr. Ray right now is working his speed magic with the linebacker room at this point.
Man, I'm pretty excited, especially to know that Shane Lee's hips are going to be a little bit looser, because that's what we need to see from him.
I just want a 4.6 from him. If he runs sub 4.6, then find that other $1 million and just give it to Dr. Matt Ray. Just give it to him.
He's the man. He is the man. Well, guys, Rudy had to step away. He's on a business trip traveling, but I want to reiterate what Joey said earlier, that we really appreciate him being on. He's truly a legend, an icon. And for all you people out there who have a dream of not only being a football player, but anything, you really need to listen to what his story is about. I mean, he's the guy to look towards for that. But we definitely appreciate what he did as an Alabama player and what he's doing now through coaching. All right, guys, we're getting close to closing time. But before we do that, a few news and notes. I can't speak tonight. I guess I'm fanboying like Joey was. Every week we like to talk about Marvin Constant's book. That's Physical and Mental Fitness at 40 Plus. It's a book that is changing many people's lives, and it changed his life.
I got the book now.
Yeah, and if you go to his Instagram, that's at Constant45, you can see testimonials and incredible pictures of lives that are just being changed daily. So if you're in a situation where you want to make a huge change, even though you're 40 and up, man, this book is what you need to have in your grasp. And the extra to that is Marvin Constant will actually be having a book signing July 21st at the River Chase Galleria in Hoover at Bumper Nets. So if you are around at that time, it's between 11 and 1. That's during SEC Media Days. You can go catch Marvin and his new book, and maybe even a complimentary bottle of body oil. I don't know.
You know, before y'all finish, you know, it's something we always talk about. Marvin Constant's 40 plus strong, but there's two YouTube pages that for Alabama fans y'all need to really check out. Justin Radley's YouTube page, I watch it every day. It's some funny stuff on there, and of course, the legendary Stephen Smith, his YouTube page. If you want to be informed on the greatest Alabama stories out today, you need to check out those two YouTube stories, because y'all two never promote y'all stuff. Y'all always promoting Marvin stuff. Y'all need to get out there and tell the people about the two greatest YouTube channels out there right now.
To piggyback, Stephen, use this to promote what's going up with In My Own Word, what's going on with In My Own Words, and how we got that.
What's going on is what's going on. We're talking Crimson Tide football cover to cover on the show for an hour. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. The call to get into the show, that's 205-448-1358. That's at 205-448-1358. And what we do, we not only break down Bama football and take calls, but I have my own form of comic genius, and we try to talk people off the ledge. That's what we do. But I seriously right now, no joke, I want to commend our own Joseph Lozada, man. The shades are killing it. He got the drip with the hat. He probably got like a Jesus piece somewhere in the background. Like, Joseph Lozada, man. We got to get the Joe do it.
Yes, sir. Joe, man. And we appreciate you for filling in this week in the absence of Malibu Marvin Constant, who's on vacation. So we definitely appreciate you stepping in and having fun with us.
And Steve in motion. In motion, Steve Brown. In motion, Steve.
Well, hey, does Steve Brown ever come on? Like, I haven't seen him in like forever. Where is Steve Brown? I know. Like, first off, Steve Brown had a death in his family. Yeah. To the regard, I texted him, Facebook messaged him, and gave him my regards. Of course, you know, him being so busy with the arrangements, he's not returning a lot of people's calls, texts or whatever. But on behalf of the CTS Interview Room, Stephen Brown, you know, you're always loved here and your family to us, and we love you. And, you know, I'm speaking as a fan of yours. I can't wait to see you come back to the Bama standard and kill it, because without you, the show is not as good. I'm just a little birdie flying in, but with Marvin Constant, Steve Brown, Stephen Smith, and Justin Riley, I'm so blessed to have y'all in the CTS interview room, and we couldn't be successful without you four. So with that said, I do appreciate y'all more than you appreciate me. I thank you. I humbly mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, we appreciate that. Before we head out, I want to remind everyone, if you ever want to contact us,
man, pass the Puffs Plus, man. God, man.
a possible sponsor. But yeah, as I was saying, if you ever want to contact the show, if you have any questions for us or any guests that will be on the show, you can contact us, the Bama Standard at gmail.com. And now it's time to unveil the guest for next week, guys. If you are looking for a true OG, somebody that came from back in Bear Bryant's day, the man won a national championship, All-American. He is also a two-time Pro Bowler for the Arizona Cardinals. That's Mr. EJ Jr.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Let's go.
So
Let's go. Let's freaking go.
Man, I'll tell you what, we talk about the Bama Standard of defense. This is the guy that originated it. So, guys, you definitely want to tune in for that. But anyway, fellas, great show. I appreciate y'all doing what you do every week. Thank you again, Joy, for coming on. Roll Tide.
Thank you, sir.